2 weeks' time, I've got a 1-hour true crime video planned. It's either unsolved murders or the most insane, most unique bits of crime ever committed. But in this evening's video, a little bit of a different angle. We're going to be taking a look at game show scandals. So instances where contestants were caught cheating or just insane things that happened on a TV game show. So it should be an interesting one and hopefully a relaxing one. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first up, Mike Richards was supposed to take over as Jeopardy host, but stepped down days after the announcement when past controversy surfaced online. Following the death of longtime Jeopardy host Alex Trebek, executive producer Mike Richards was lined up to helm the show. However, as Richards' new role was confirmed, past controversies and allegations of harassment and sexist comments resurfaced. The Ringer reported that Richards often used offensive and demeaning language to describe women on his podcast, The Random Show. He hosted the podcast from 2013 to 2014, during which time he made multiple disparaging comments, saying one-piece swimsuits make women look frumpy and overweight. It is humbling to confront a terribly embarrassing moment of misjudgment, thoughtlessness and insensitivity from nearly a decade ago, Richards said in a statement following the Ringer report. Looking back now, there is no excuse, of course, for the comments I made on this podcast, and I am deeply sorry. He stepped down as the host of Jeopardy on August 20th. However, after controversies failed to die down following his resignation, it was also reported that Richards would exit as executive producer of the show and Wheel of Fortune. So next we got an instance of cheating. 21 contestant Charles Van Doren famously cheated his way to fame and fortune, but it turned out the show was in on it. In an effort to add more drama and intrigue to the NBC game show, Van Doren was supplied with the questions and answers before the 1950s game show aired. According to Rolling Stone, he appeared on the program for 14 weeks, earning him $128,000 and making him a star. During his appearances on the show, the game show's ratings also went through the roof, as viewers tuned in to see if his winning streak would continue. 21 repeatedly shot down rumours that the show was fixed. However, on November 2nd, 1959, Van Doren admitted to congressional investigators that the show had supplied him with the material beforehand. The revelation changed the rules surrounding game shows and made cheating on them illegal. He pleaded guilty to second-degree perjury but served no jail time. The scandal was documented in the Oscar-nominated film Quiz Show, which starred Ralph Fiennes as Van Doren and was directed by Robert Redford. The real-life Charles Van Doren passed away at the age of 93 on April 10th, 2019. Okay, next up, serial killer Rodney Alcala appeared on a 1978 episode of The Dating Game during his murder spree. You might assume that contestants on highly popular game shows like The Dating Game are vetted for dangerous criminal records before being allowed to compete. However, in 1978, one infamous contestant appeared to slip through the cracks. According to Rolling Stone, Rodney James Alcala, who became known as the Dating Game Killer, appeared on the game show during his killing spree. At the time he competed on the show, Alcala had already been convicted of essaying an 8-year-old girl, a crime for which he only spent 34 months in jail. Introduced as Bachelor Number 1, a successful photographer go on a date with him after meeting backstage, saying, "I started to feel ill. He was actually really creepy. I turned down his offer. I didn't want to see him again." Alcala was convicted for 8 murders. The authorities say he may have been responsible for as many as 130, according to the Associated Press. He died at the age of 77 on July 24th, 2021, while awaiting execution for the murder of 12-year-old Robin Samso. Former The Price is Right model Brandy Sherwood Cochran sued the game show in 2010, claiming she was let go from her job after becoming pregnant. Brandy Sherwood Cochran, who appeared as a model on The Price is Right from 2002 to 2009, sued the show and its producers, alleging discrimination. She claimed she was let go from her job after returning from her maternity leave to find she was no longer needed, according to Goliath. She also alleged that producer Mike Richards treated her differently after she told the show she was pregnant. According to Newsweek, he allegedly said, "Go figure, I fire 5 models. What are the odds one of the ones that I keep get pregnant?" She was awarded $7.7 million in a discrimination lawsuit, but was later stripped of it because of the jury being given poor instructions prior to the deliberation. In 2016, she settled with the show for an unknown amount. In 2021, after the details of the lawsuit resurfaced as Richards was named Jeopardy host, he said, "I want you all to know that the way in which my comments and actions have been characterized in these complaints does not reflect the reality of who I am or how we work together on The Price is Right. I know firsthand how special it is to be a parent. It is the most important thing in the world to me. I would not say anything to disrespect anyone's pregnancy, and I've always supported my colleagues on their parenting journeys." Press Your Luck superfan and eventual show contestant Michael Larson figured out how to cheat the system and win big by memorizing patterns from previous wins. So the original Press Your Luck was hosted by Peter DeMarkin on CBS between 1983 and 1986. In one of the most well-known scandals in game show history, ice cream truck operator Michael Larson studied the patterns of the show's game board to maximize his chances of winning and avoid the show's whammy, which set a player's wins back to 0. At the taping of this episode on May 19th, 1984, Larson won a total of $110,237, the equivalent of just shy of $300,000 today. Though he technically didn't break any official rules, Press Your Luck made an effort to create or randomize its game board to avoid any other contestants following the same strategy. How would they even find that out? I assume Michael would have had to have come out and said that. Why on earth would you give that away? I mean, it doesn't sound like they took his winnings off him, so no harm done, but to even risk the fact that they could have taken the money off him again, I'm not really too sure why you would come out and expose your tactics. Next one. On an episode of $1 Million Money Drop, a couple lost $800,000 despite reports that they technically gave the correct answer. No way. Following a 2010 episode of $1 Million Money Drop, in which contestants answered multiple choice trivia questions, it was reported that a couple who correctly answered a question was not awarded their money. According to Access, the question asked which product was first to be sold in stores in the United States. Post-it notes, the Macintosh computer, lawsuits and lost their $800,000 earnings. However, some claim that since Post-its were market tested in 4 cities in 1977, they were released earlier than the Walkman, which was sold starting in 1979. The integrity of the questions and answers on our show are number one priority, executive producer Jeff Abloff said in a statement. In this case, our research team spoke directly with 3M, and they confirmed that although they had given out free samples in test markets in 1977 and 1978, it wasn't until 1980 that Post-its were officially sold in stores. A contestant once tried to use the Shazam app to cheat on Pasa Palabra, a Spanish game show where people guess the title and artists of different songs. Adriana Abina, a Spanish actress and TV presenter, was accused of cheating on the TV game show after she was discovered trying to use an app to find out the answer to a question. According to Metro, Abina intended to use the phone app Shazam, which records songs and tells the user the song title and artist, to win. She was found out after the phone lit up between her legs and began vibrating during the taping. Abina was caught before she was able to use the app to cheat her way to the answer. To be honest, I think she deserves a special prize anyway, because in 7 years of organising this TV contest, nobody has ever done anything like this, and certainly not quite as brazenly, the show's host, Christian Galvez, said, according to Express. Charles Ingram was accused of cheating on the UK version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, with help from fellow contestant Declan Whittock, who allegedly coughed to alert him to the right answers. Now, I think I've seen this one, and it is pretty blatant. So definitely go and find the footage when you have time, because it's so blatant. So in a 2001 episode of the game show, Ingram answered 15 questions correctly to win the ultimate jackpot despite a shaky start. However, according to The Sun, the prize money was taken away after show executives questioned the validity of Ingram's win. After reviewing the recording, the production team alleged that fellow contestant Declan Whittock had alerted Ingram to the right and wrong answers by coughing and sneezing from the sidelines. They also allegedly found an instance of Diana Ingram coughing from the audience. All three were eventually charged with procuring the execution of a valuable security by deception. The Ingrams were sentenced to 18 months suspended for 2 years, i.e. if they did not adhere to conditions set by the court, they would serve jail time. And Whittock was sentenced to 12 months suspended for 2 years. Both parties were also fined £15,000 or $20,000 and ordered to pay £10,000 towards prosecution costs, though the Ingrams ended up owing £115,000 in additional defence costs. A major in the Royal Engineers, Charles Ingram was forced to resign from the army in August 2003 following the court case. However, the accused cheaters and their defence attorneys have maintained both parties' innocence over the years, even proving that Whittock suffered from a persistent cough that had nothing to do with alerting Ingram to the correct answers. Okay, buddy. You would just go, yeah, fair enough, got caught. Like, you've done the crime and you've, like, paid dearly for it. Why wouldn't you just go, yeah, it was worth a go, wasn't it? Like, in the 1950s, quiz shows enjoyed widespread popularity in the United States. There was only one problem: many of them were rigged. Producers and contestants collaborated to ensure certain outcomes and carefully choreographed filming to make it seem like, for instance, a person had been fed an answer before taping was genuinely stumped. Soon enough, viewers who devoured these programs were watching their very public downfalls. The first show to be called was called Dotto. Dotto was a general knowledge game where contestants would attempt to guess the subject of various connect-the-dots portraits. For each correct answer, they could connect another dot. It was pulled off the air without explanation in 1958, despite high ratings. Its host, Jack Nars, was told that CBS found out that the show was rigged. He was instructed to keep out of sight and say nothing to the press. Now we've got another instance with the show 21. This was before the Charles Van Doren situation. So, Herb Stempel was a 29-year-old college student when he first wrote to the folks behind 21 claiming, "I answer so great a bulk of the questions that my wife has continually urged me to try out for your fine show." After he was invited to be a contestant, producers Daniel Emright visited him at home and promised, "Play ball with me, kid, and you'll win $24,000 just like that." For 5 weeks, Enright provided Stempel with the questions and their answers before taping, and coached him on stage direction, such as which gestures he could use to appear convincingly challenged. Stempel won nearly $50,000 before his successful run on the show came to its scripted end at the hands of Columbia professor Charles Van Doren. He asked Enright if he and Van Doren could play by the rules in their final matchup, but Enright told him the show needed a change to be successful. He also told Stempel that he would find him a full-time, behind-the-scenes job on a quiz show. In what was surely a crushing turn of events, Stempel took a dive by incorrectly answering a question about his favourite movie, Marty. After his loss, he heard someone backstage remark, "Now we have a clean-cut intellectuals champion instead of a freak with a sponge memory." When the game show gig never materialised, Stempel tried to tell people that the show was fixed, but nobody believed him. While one newspaper investigated his claims, it couldn't find any evidence besides his testimony. The story was subsequently dropped until the demise of Dotto a year later. Project Runway contestant Keith Michael was disqualified by the show's producers for keeping forbidden pattern-making books in his room during the taping of season 3. While the books are banned to keep designers from gaining an unfair advantage over their fellow competitors, Michael argued after the fact while he did bring the books with him, he didn't use them to cheat. He claimed one book was the most detailed pattern book you would ever see about menswear, and that he brought it to the show, which typically focuses exclusively on women's wear, to work on his new line of men's clothing. The other book was a dictionary of production terms. Michael said, "I think this whole thing is far-fetched and crazy. People want me to be the bad boy, but I'm not that guy." In addition to the books, Michael was disqualified for going AWOL from the production without permission. Michael said he spent the 4 hours he was unaccounted for looking for his boyfriend's spare key at his apartment. And 13 seasons later, another Project Runway contestant found themselves elected for rule breaking. Season 16 contestant Claire Buitendorp admitted to bringing a tape measure to the designer's department and using it to take measurements of a tank top in order to recreate it in the workroom. Just before mentor Tim Gunn found out about the tape measure, Buitendorp won a challenge, leading other designers to voice their suspicions that she was unfairly copying their work from previous episodes and recreating clothing items from her own personal closet instead of coming up with new designs. Interesting. The one I find completely mad is the Charles Ingram one. Like, is it really that serious a criminal offence? I mean, I guess it is, because they're technically like stealing the BBC's or whoever was doing its money. But like, I don't know. It seemed to get find like 115,000. It just seems like a little bit, I don't know, a wee bit far-fetched, but that's just me. I'd love to go on a game show one day, but it's one of those things like you sit at home and you're like answering loads of questions, and you just know you'd get on it and just absolutely bottle it, or at least I think I would anyway. I definitely wouldn't cheat. It's disgusting. But anyways, that was another instalment of ASMR True Crime. It wasn't really